Hello, everyone. How are you? It's great to see you. And I hope your week one of the 21 Days of Self-Compassion Challenge is going beautifully well. This week is, in following Kristin Neff's model, is all about noticing with openness rather than judgment. So it's all about that mindfulness week and how can I get through just noticing things instead of going, oh, that's ridiculous. Can you believe it? Just going, oh, it's interesting to me.
Mm.
So I think that's what we want to get out of this week. So if you're listening to this recording now, thank you. And it's great that you could have you can have this touch point to know what this week is all about, because I know you've been getting the daily challenges on email, but there's more to it than that as well. So I'm going to throw to the most excellent people I have with me today, which is Mona Lisa and Leanne. And I'm going to put the question to them and just go, hey guys, in your week this week, just how has mindfulness shown up in everyday moments so far as you've sort of got those daily check-ins happening your way? And so I'm going to hand over you and stop talking. So Leanne, do you want to go first?
Yeah, well, I've got two things to share. First of all, from one of the participants, actually, a teacher who's doing the 21-day challenge, I spoke to today and I did ask how things were going. And she said to me that one of the daily prompts was just about awareness in the body. Where do you feel your emotion in the body? And she realized that this ongoing tension in a certain part of her body was related to her being self-critical. She's starting a new role, taking on a new assistant principal role at a school, learning lots of new things. So that was really good for her to do that self-reflection.
Yep.
Um, for me personally, in terms of mindfulness, I tend to be the person that doesn't like the silence in conversations. So I try and fill in the gaps, and especially when there is moments of emotion, quite often from parents. And so I was more mindful about allowing space and listening more and not jumping in, but being okay with pausing
Yep.
and not saying anything and letting the parent experience the full range of emotions. In this case, this young girl has a major health concern and needs to go into hospital. And the more I paused and allowed the parent to be open and expressive with what was going on, the tears just flowed for
Yep.
him as a parent. And it was actually really quite beautiful for me to see, how stressful this had been on this parent. But I allowed him and I gave him the space. So I guess mindfulness is also giving us the space, but then allowing other people to have that space as well.
Right. It is. It is that component of how can I share that, and role model it and show other people it as well, so that because we all need it, don't we?
Mm, mm. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So that's a really good one and a really powerful one, Leanne. Do you think it's because of the great response you've had with that today that's something you'll probably do more of?
Definitely pausing a lot before I speak. As teachers, we quite often we want to come across as the expert, knowledgeable, have all the answers all the time. And
Yeah.
sometimes really what our young people want, or even their parents, is just someone to listen to, or even our colleague is just someone to
Yeah.
listen to. So pausing yourself and not going in to problem solve
Mm.
is quite powerful for the receiver on the other end, just
Oh,
as much as it is powerful for us to pause before we respond and try not to react, but rather respond. So
mm.
it's definitely something that I am going to carry through when I'm working with my students and my colleagues and their families.
Definitely. Yeah. It, I think that, it is that thing of when you listen really well, it is that thing where people can feel it and they feel, and I guess a big term that, people, it keeps becoming real for people is I felt seen, I
Mm,
felt heard.
mm, yep.
And that's a big thing, isn't it? Because the world's going too fast at the moment. There's a lot of really serious things going on.
Yeah.
So, how are we slowing down enough to really be with each other in those moments? Like, how can we pause enough to be with each other in a moment?
Giving them the space
Yeah.
to work it out. Like this parent actually said to me, "Oh wow, I didn't realize how much this has actually affected me."
Mm,
So just allowing that full range of emotions, and rather than me jumping in and saying, "Oh look, what this is what we can do," and all of that. Sometimes all people need is just that space.
yeah. Because most of us have known our lives pretty well for some time, and we actually know what we need to do. We just haven't had a moment
That's
to
right.
make real.
Yeah,
Like, and no one's actually sort of, yeah, nothing's slowed down enough sometimes for us to go, this is
exactly.
what I need.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it's a
And
great one.
yeah, feeling it in the body is actually quite powerful too.
Yeah. I mean, so many people, like, when you meet people and like they go, oh, I'm so tired. And I'm like, well, what does tired mean for you?
Mm,
Like,
mm,
can I just ask, does that mean that, you're physically unwell somewhere? Or is it that your hair's falling out? Or is it that, your heart's running too fast? Or is it that, your limbs ache? What does it mean?
mm,
And then how has that happened?
mm,
Yeah,
mm.
and it's like trying to find those words, isn't it, to describe it.
Yeah, exactly. And we often teach little kids about being able to name their emotions. And sometimes they will actually respond with a bodily feeling. So they'll say, I I know I'm nervous because I get this tummy, butterflies in my tummy, or my tummy hurts, um, or my palms feel sweaty. So, and then we start saying, well, when your palms feel sweaty, what do you think your palms are trying to tell you? What is it that they're saying
Yeah,
to you? And so that naming and linking that physiological function with the emotion is really powerful for even young kids, just as much
yeah,
as it is for adults.
yeah. Isn't it weird though that as an adult we'll just kind of soldier through and go, yes, I've got a funny tummy, and yes, just to be gross, oh, I'm so wound up, I've now got diarrhea,
Yeah,
but I'm too busy to slow down, so I'll just go push through.
yeah,
Like,
yeah.
why?
Soldier on.
Yes, pull my socks up and get on with it.
Yeah,
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 but what happens when we keep doing that methodology and we keep not noticing the messages that our body's sending to us? What happens then?
mm,
Like, are we just digging a bigger hole for ourselves down the track?
mm, mm.
Yeah, we probably are. And then what's the next level up? Is it, if we continue to have that high level of, negative feeling in our body and, and physiological symptoms, what's the next step? Do we end up really, really sick? And then do we have to take a long leave of absence from work?
Mm, mm,
Which then, teachers don't like doing that because,
mm.
they don't want to let down their teammates. Because if I take a month off work because I'm so sick, then who's going to look after the kids? Getting a
Yes,
substitute teacher, who's going to do that?
yes. And that, that and I feel like I'm putting pressure on the school because they're going to have to replace me. If you're taking senior kids here in Victoria, we've got the Victorian Certificate of Education. So you don't, those students, if you're teaching year 12 students in their final year, time off work, you get the guilt because you know how important that teaching time is for those students.
Yeah, and then you soldier on and you're ignoring your
Mm,
health,
mm,
which, I mean, the human body can only take so much before it really starts wearing itself out. And then we see the development of chronic disease. We start seeing,
Mm.
diabetes. We start seeing, heart disease. We start seeing all of those things because inevitably what happens when we're working with so much negativity, we're sort of in that space where we're just soldiering on regardless of what our body's doing. Sometimes we fall to a bit of self-soothing behavior. And I don't know about you, but historically my self-soothing behavior has been high caloric food and, possibly plus or minus wine at times,
mm.
and
Yeah.
what do both those things do for us?
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
exactly. Eh,
I add wine to the system and I get more anxious
That's
because,
right.
it winds, it creates depressive symptoms. And then I'll eat more fatty food and then I get fatter and then I don't like the way I look when I'm fatter. And so that gets me down even further.
Mm,
So can you see it's this cycle, isn't it?
yeah.
It just starts spiraling,
Mm,
when I'm already stressed, but now I'm more stressed. So stress plus stress equals something's going to give, and it's
mm,
probably me.
mm.
Yeah.
And noticing that powerful awareness and mindfulness of noticing that physiological response. So you're walking to a class, you know it's going to be challenging, your heart starts to race. It's almost like at that point there is when you do need to pause and go, yep, I know what's going on for me right now.
Yep.
And what do I need to give myself in this moment right now, before I go into that class? Or yeah, same with the wine.
Mhm.
And the chocolate and and the sugary foods, it's almost like that pause too of going, before I grab this, I'm just going to wait 5 minutes and
Yes.
see that if I
So
just,
yeah.
yeah, slow down and notice what's happening and this habit, I can actually break this habit by
Yeah.
interrupting that pattern.
Mhm.
Exactly. It's short circuiting. How can you create your own short circuit? And that's a tough one too, because what is like, what's a short circuit that works for me is different to one that works for you, Leanne, as I can
Yeah.
imagine, as one for Mona Lisa, which actually, can I put you two on the spot right now and actually ask you, what is your short circuit for when you do find out that you are a bit wound up and that you are feeling, you are mindful, you're aware of, I'm stressed right now, like I can feel it.
Yeah.
Okay. What is it what is your tipping point? What is the thing that you notice? That would be your first question. And then the second question I'm curious to know is, what do you do to break the
Yeah.
cycle, to go, I'm noticing this and this is what I do? So Mona Lisa, I'm going to pick on you first. So I hope that's
Yeah.
not too much.
I think what I observe is like whenever I feel like blank out, like there's a lot of things that I need to do, but I don't know which one to do first because I'm so, I feel like um it's a lot. And
Mm,
I'm holding the tension in my shoulder and also my breath is
ah,
also rushing.
yes.
So what I do
So
is,
in your shoulders, does that hurt your neck?
yeah,
Like
yeah,
what happened?
it's so tight. It's so tight and I feel like I feel like I can like I just want to lay down, I just want to rest. Something like that.
Yep,
So what I do is I get out of my computer, I stand up, drink water, and then just pause and go
yep,
outside. see green leaves or touch the grass. So yeah, that's what I do to just
Right.
break the,
You break the cycle.
yeah, and to
Yeah,
refresh. Yeah.
yeah. Great. And you
Right.
know that about yourself now, and you've learned that. So and I think it is the thing is once you learn that, it's about how can you honor it in yourself, knowing that you have to honor yourself and notice that this hurts and I
Mm.
can't keep doing this to myself.
Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Mm.
Yeah. No.
Mm.
Thank you for sharing that, Mona Lisa.
Thank you.
What about you, Miss Leanne? What do you do?
So I'm a visual person.
Oh,
So my strategies often involve some kind of visual cue. So I was noticing, so I tend to get home and finish work, my teaching day at about 3:30, sometimes 3:40. And I was noticing that the time between 4 and 5, if I'd had a really stressful, busy day, I'd get home and I'd go straight to the pantry and I'd look for something. So what I actually did was I actually had a coaching session around this, and one of the strategies we did come up with was up to pause. And so I printed out a clock, a clock
right.
face, and I have a clock face picture on my fridge. And it just reminds me before I go to the fridge for the wine or something in the pantry, it just reminds me to pause for 10 minutes
Yep.
and let it pass. And so that has actually really helped.
Mm,
Great.
that's nice.
Mm, mm,
Yeah, and that's a really good tip for everyone who might be listening too, who probably suffers something a little bit similar.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
Yeah, no,
yeah,
that's a good
absolutely.
one. Because I know for me, sometimes before I'm turning up, because as I declare, I'm a teacher of adults. I don't teach children. I teach adults more often than not, and I can get quite anxious before turning up with a group of adults because often I don't know them. I get put in the room to lecture them, and like I think there is that bit of a imposter syndrome that I've always carried that, will they think I'm good enough?
Mm,
Will my knowledge be something they want?
mm, mm,
Um, and it's also that bit of I want to do a really good job here
mm,
because I've got an ability to make something different here for these people if I do a good job. So it's a kind of those two components, and I can start feeling a bit anxious. And so I know my heart rate speeds up because I wear this watch thing
Mm-hmm.
and I can feel it, but I can also read it.
Mm-hmm.
yeah,
And so I see that. And so I'm a big box breather. So I do the 4 rounds of the box breathing,
yeah.
and that's if anybody's listening at home and goes, what's box breathing? Just Google it. But it's that sort of whole, breathing in a square.
Mm,
And you breathe in for 4 seconds, you hold it for 4 seconds, you breathe out for 4 seconds, you hold it for 4 seconds. And I do 4 rounds of that. And
mm,
I can drop my heart rate
mm,
easily
yeah,
by 20 beats in the minute
yeah.
from just doing that. And instantly, like I'm tapping into all those neurochemicals in my body because I'm dropping my heart rate quite quickly. That actually introduces that sort of sense of peace and calm, and I can actually feel it flush over my body. And
Mm,
so that's one of my really quick hacks that I know that I use regularly
yeah, great.
because I have to, because I don't want to turn up in front of these people looking like a flibbity gibbet, as I call it. Like I don't,
Yeah.
because that's not going to do a lot for my credibility. If I walk in a room going blah, 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 I've got to walk in and hold the space. I've got to be
Exactly.
present. I've
Yeah.
got to be that person that they're going, hey, this person's got it figured out.
Mm, mm.
You know?
Yeah, I call it the 3 C's, turning up calm, curious, and connected.
Yep.
And definitely young people and even your own children, this co-regulation that's happening. And if they're sensing that you're starting to get a bit antsy, a bit bothered, feeling a bit anxious, then they will definitely pick up on that and
Oh,
respond and mirror you.
Yeah, they'll mirror
Yeah.
you 100%. And
Yeah.
that's the big thing.
Mm.
We have to roll. So yeah, it is that role modeling. We do want to honor ourselves and turn up well.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And I guess that's what this week is all about, isn't it?
Yeah, totally.
How can you be so aware of yourself? And yeah, so those daily prompts that we send through from Zest again every day, it's just helping you sort of gather that knowledge and information, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Is there anything else you want to add to what we've talked about today before we send out the final challenge for this week?
Hmm.
Because I don't want to keep.
No,
I mean,
I don't think so. I
we
don't
could talk
think
about
that,
this
Yeah.
forever.
we could. We could. And I think the main thing that we've pointed out is the pausing.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's a
Whether
big
that's,
thing.
whether that's pausing to not react,
Mhm.
but whether that's also pausing for ourselves and what's going on in our own internal mind and our body.
Yeah, because we care, and that's, I think the big thing about teachers and, a lot of teachers that I've worked with is they care so much about what they do. They
Definitely.
actually really care.
Yeah.
And sometimes they care so much that they wear themselves out caring for others more than they're equally nurturing and caring for
Mhm.
themselves.
Mm,
And that's the thing we're trying to get a bit more balance in, isn't it?
definitely. Yeah.
Definitely. So I guess thinking about that sort of topic, I think our big challenge from the pause topic, really, Leanne, I guess then, is to go, well, what helps you pause long enough to notice what's happening inside you this week?
Mm,
Like, really, how are you pausing enough before you step into the classroom, before you step into the end of your day, even? Are you pausing at the end of a day and going, how did today go? How am I going?
mm,
I'm about to go home and maybe be
yeah.
present with my family. Am I okay? Am I okay?
Mm. Yeah, how much of this energy am I going to carry on with me and continue it on for the rest of the night? Yeah.
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 Knowing that, teachers are not just teachers at school. Um,
Yeah.
they've got people at home. They've got other people in their lives
Mhm.
Mm,
that they need to go home to. And do they have enough energy to go home and
exactly.
be themselves, or they're just a shell of themselves by the time they get home?
Quite often teachers will talk about the fact that they feel like they don't have enough energy to give that same level of energy to their own children
Yeah.
as they do for 25 other children. So
Yep.
it's a really good point, Sue.
Yeah. So
Mm.
do you reckon that's what we're going to end today with then?
Yeah,
Is how are you pausing throughout your day just to check in with yourself to make sure that you're feeling good enough for all parts of your day?
Mm. Or if you're noticing that you're not pausing, what prompt or cue might
Yes.
you use or need? Yeah.
Yes. What can you notice about yourself? Is it
Mm.
that your heart rate's going too fast? Is it that you're thoroughly exhausted? Is it that you just want to sit down and cry? Has it
Mm.
gone, like what is it?
Mm.
And if you're noticing these things, trust yourself. You're
Yeah.
a good human.
Yeah.
Trust yourself. You can stop. You're allowed to
Mm.
pause and reflect and honor yourself.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Definitely. Well, thanks, ladies.
Thank you.
Thank you.
This is this has been brilliant. We could go on forever, but we
Yeah.
don't want to because um, this is going to be a recording you're listening to now. And we'll see you next week. If you want to join us, remember this is not, it's not a must do, but it's a really good fun thing to come along every week, isn't it? And just talk about these topics. Next week, our topic is the second week is very focused towards the second level of Kristin Neff's model, which is all about that component of self-kindness. So it's like now that you have had those pauses and you've noticed that maybe you need something, how are you going to give it to yourself?
Lovely.
So come and join us if you want to come along and talk about some things that you might be trying to give yourself next week.
Yeah. Tell us how your week's been. Come along.
Exactly. Just come along and tell us how your week's been. We're all learning from each other.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I think I need to go and get a clock on my pantry now, Leanne. I'd have to go do that. All right. Well, thanks, guys. It's been a blast, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.